Yeah. Sound good to me. This sound hard, something funky people gon' dance to. Give the record a second and a chance to. Hitting people like a scene of amazement. While they slipping back, my feet is planted in the pavement. Crumble I can never do. So now I'm looking dead at you. What are you gonna do? You listen to the knowledge of a scholar. You say how I breathe, tell them holla holla. I'm the E-double, and I proclaim my name. Straight up, good gang, peeps all gang. I'm like a rhino, running through the roughest pack. They figure I'm a trigger happy nigga, so they step back. Breathe. The microphone is who lasts the longest and who's the strongest. It ain't a game, it's plain to see. You listen to the sounds of breathe. There ain't no future in your front. I never got caught with a kilo, and if you ever do, yo, will never be with me, yo. Serve it in the Cherokee, or maybe it's a Geo. Black on black Benzo, we'll get it up amigo. Never have to worry about my posse getting jumped, cause if we ever do, yo, TB, pop the trunk. Cause we don't go for playing, wanna play, go grab a ball. When I'm on the mic, I ain't for playing, not at all. Cause I clock 10 G's a week, booming at my peak. Always see E sober, but I do get geek. I can give you a job, a place to eat. Hardy, meet your homeboy Marty at a B.O.B. party taking over. Barking like a dog named Rover. I'm picking suckers like a 4-leaf clover. They biting words on the mic, they some cobras. So now they saying egg breeders getting over. But ain't no future in your front. There ain't no future in your front. I'm the B, the R to the double E-D, and down with my homie G-A-S-N-O-E, and suckers causing static cause they still be disagreeing. I don't give a, cause I'm from F-L-I-N-T in a city where pity runs slow. If you ever shoot through my city, now you know, cause we a strictly business and we also got a pride. And if you don't like it, I suggest you break wide. Suckers study looking for the M-O-N-E-Y, thinking that illegal is the best one, so they dying. I ain't got time to see a fiend out, to give up all his money and to give up what he got. That's the way I am, MC B cannot be different. Never change the ways for the world or the government. If I was the president, then I would state facts. You leave it up to me, I paint the White House black and ain't no future in your front. There ain't no future in your front. Yeah, I got dollars in my pocket, not from rolling. If I was a fiend, then my gold would be stolen. Put my name Breed on everything I own. And when I get my Jeep, I'm putting Breed on the chrome. Shine it up good, kick it through my neighborhood. Motorola phone, fat rims and a Kenwood. Put the kid around it, and then I'll have it drop. Just because the rotten people think I'm selling rocks, but ain't no future in your front. There ain't no future in your front. Yo, Flash, man, drop that, man. Why don't you drop that? True to the rules of the world. Live my life raw cause I never liked the law. Wear top 10s on my ass, use jeans. Selling big gates and tit for tat to the fiends. Cock much dollars but I never break a sweat. Time to move out, my posse saying, you got my back and I got yours. What time is it? Tear down the door. It ain't no future in your front. Never was, cuz. There ain't no future in your front. Yo, man, let's start this party up, right? Kick out that fat dance.
We Japanese still. You getting cooked in front of your family? Like a Japanese meal. It's y'all shoot the hibachi and none of you niggas can stop me. Or can't help but watch me. So look, bro. I got invited to go on a group on Facebook and they were discussing certain ideologies. And the main ideology that kept coming back up is this Abo ideology, which is an identitarian group that believes that majority of the people that are called African American are somehow Native and Indigenous Americans. And me trying to be the voice of reason and actually add reality and logic to the conversation, I just wanted to explain to people that we're not homogenous. And the one field that can prove out Your ancestry is being avoided by these groups, avoided like the plague, because reality does not conform to your ideas of being in whatever it is, whether it be be if it be a Native American, an Israelite, whatever it is, because we're a mixed bag. You can't just randomly pick people from these social groups that we belong in. Like I belong in the African American group, and to say, I know your ancestry, you are Native Indigenous American, you're an Israelite. It don't work like that. But see, that's the game that we were taught by a lot of these quote unquote aficionados or priests and leaders and imams of these groups. And a lot of people get upset because I point out the cult like behaviors of this group because they don't want to be challenged. They don't want to have any controversy pressed towards their ideas and the way they think. They just want you to accept whatever they say. So testing their ideas with the evidence. And the ultimate evidence when it comes to ancestry is always going to be your DNA, the cells in your body tell the story of your ancestors. Your Y chromosome tells the story of your male ancestors. mtDNA tells the story of your female ancestors. Your autosomal DNA tells the story of your direct and indirect ancestors. So basically the people that your ancestors intermingled and admixed with within the last 5 to 8 generations. The book is already written in your cells. There's a copy of your DNA in all your cells. We have the ability to analyze your cells, your DNA, and we can decode it, and we're able to show and match what people groups that you belong with. The issue here, especially with abos and people that want to believe that all African Americans are somehow indigenous to the Americas, the issue here is the DNA that's within all our bodies and our cells does not match that story and that narrative. As I was telling the brothers and sisters in the group, African Americans are a hodgepodge. African Americans are a mixture. We're a composite of several groups. The largest percentage of us are going to be African. There are less men that are African American than are African than women. There are more women that are African than there are men in the African American community. About 40% of the males in the African American community have non-African paternal ancestry. And about 80% of the females have African paternal ancestry. But with that being said, we're still a mixture because, again, some of our females actually descend from Native Americans, meaning their DNA matches the people that were here before Columbus, that have been here for 15, 20,000 years to some estimates, right? Some of them match European females, meaning they descend, their mother's mother goes back to a Western European or Eastern European population. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. This is just the reality. People mix with each other and have babies and have sex with each other. These ideas of racial purists and anti-miscegenation is fairly new. And even when that was being taught, they were still having sex and crossing quote unquote racial lines. How do we know that? Because people like Marcus Garvey is the product. Marcus Garvey is a descendant of a Western European man. Marcus Garvey, Y chromosome is R1b. The only way you can get a Y chromosome is through the act of sex and reproduction. So that means a man deposited sperm into one of his foremothers and created him. It's just that simple. So the conversation reaches levels of idiocy and lunacy because people want to double down and triple down even when the evidence is presented. So tonight what we're going to do is go over this because it's the same thing going on in this community that's going on in the Israelite community where they're trying to force mold and make Native Americans Israelites and presenting a 12 tribe chart, which is just, that 12 tribe chart is just a bunch of people with so many different ancestries that they all could not possibly go back to a man named Jacob. It's the same thing. You're teaching homogeny. You're teaching a racial purist doctrine that everyone that fits in this bubble are the same, and it's not true. African Americans are not the same. We're heterogeneous. There's heterogeneity within the African American community. Some of us are European, some of us are Asian. Again, the Wayne family are East Asian descended on their father's side. Right? We're all not the same. We're a composite sketch. We are a mosaic, not a homogenous entity. All right. So tonight we're gonna get into the origins of Native Americans. And if you are able that's watching this video, or if you are of the belief that all African Americans are somehow tied to the original Americans or the people that were here before Columbus, then I want you guys to really take notes and try to grasp the understanding and learn from this video. Whether you agree or disagree, I'm going to provide to you the empirical evidence to show whether or not is that true or not. And the only real way to cement or ascertain whether or not you are a descendant of those people is to take a DNA test and match your DNA with the people that were found in the ground, the people that were found in the burials. We have plenty of Native American burials to go off of that we have exhumed the DNA and sequenced their DNA. This is not hidden information. This is not found in the Vatican. I know a lot of you guys are into conspiracy theories. None of this stuff is open knowledge. Anyone can access it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the tool known as Globetrekker on FamilyTree, and we're going to track the migration of these people. Okay? So let me show you.
No. You can't use Globetrekker.
Can't use Globe.
You can't use that. That only tests modern people. There's no ancient remains on there. And plus, you Afrocentrists try to use that to put other human populations in places where they shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's another thing too. People don't want to. People have this idea. And that's a verse that they use from the Pseudepigrapha Jubilees about. It might be another book. You might know what I'm talking about, Avery. Where people can't cross over their lines. The Bible says they have their land lines and the land allotment. And they can't leave that land allotment. So this is how we know who's Ham, who's Shem, who's all that crazy stuff. You hear these arguments. So that they try to use these arguments on, there shouldn't be any black people in Egypt. These invisible force field lines where they, try to prevent people from ever traveling in history, which is very fascinating and very idiotic. But anyway, so I put the paper that we're going to be reading from tonight in the chat so you guys can have the source. I'm going to go to a particular figure here in this page. And I want to bring up the clades here, and then we're going to type it into Globetrekker, and we're going to track the migration. This is not going to take too long. We're going to track the migration of these people. So let me know if my TV in the background in my other room too loud. I can fix that for you guys. So these are the haplogroups. And again, for anybody that's new to DNA, haplogroups is a group of individuals that share a common ancestor. When we're talking right now, we're talking about the Y chromosome. So these are all male ancestors that we're looking at. So when you see this C3N217, that is a distinct group of humanity of males and their descendants. So when we look at Native Americans, because a lot of people say, Mongoloid. And what they're saying is, these people are East Asian, quote unquote, gooks is the words they use. Well, yeah, they're related to East Asians. And if you're claiming to be an indigenous Native American, then you got East Asian ancestry in you as well. If you are that, then you are also a descendant of Proto-Beringian people, Proto-East Asian people, ancient East Asian peoples. So I don't get some of these insults because you're trying to claim their ancestry and insulted at the same time, which makes no sense. So as you can see, C3N217 formed about 40,000 years ago, and it has descendants in Siberia, South and East Asia, the Sakhalin Islands, Russia, Afghanistan, China, Russia, again, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, China, Russia, Kazakhstan. And then here we can see ancient Canadian branch right here, C3P39. So this is an indigenous American. And this indigenous American comes from C3B473. This is a group of males that it comes from that formed 15 to 16,000 years ago. These group of males made their way into what is now known as Canada. That's how we know they came across the Bering Strait, because look who this line or branch of people are related to. They're related to Afghanistanians, Russians, Chinese, ancient Chinese people, right? People of ancient China. They're related to them. So that's showing you both sides. People on the American side, people on the East Asian side are connecting through genetics. What are they connecting to? Back to this group that existed 20 to 30,000 years ago, known as the C3 haplogroup, a group of individuals sharing what? Common male ancestry. That's what we're looking at. So as you can see, C3L1373 is in America and Siberia. These people share ancestry with each other, and they're on both sides of the Pacific Ocean. That lets you know somewhere in ancient times, they migrated from what is now known as Siberia to the Americas. All right. There's another branch right here coming from C3L1373. Where do they find this? In Ecuador, C3MP373. So we're just going to type these in and track the migrations through Globetrekker so you can visualize where these people come from and the origin of Native Americans. All right, so watch this, y'all. Watch this. So we're going to do C3MP373. MP373. I believe that was the clay. C3B373. C3MPB373. I keep messing up. Hey, Avery, if you have anything that you want to add, just jump in whenever you feel the need to. So this is Globetrekker, and we just typed in the clade, and what we're going to do is track the migration of this ancient group of people. So you can see C formed somewhere around the Arabian Gulf.
Wait a minute. C forms in the Arabian Gulf?
Yeah.
But people told me that the highest distribution of where a haplogroup is and where it forms, and the highest distribution of C is in Australia with the Australian Aborigines. So C should have formed in Australia. This thing is wrong, bro. This is wrong.
Yeah, they had to get there.
or are you telling me haplogroups can form outside of an area where the highest distribution isn't at? Is that what?
Yeah, that's a fact.
Oh, snap.
That's right. Modern Homo sapiens sapiens, we're not in America where we see an abundance of QM3 in ancient times, but that's, they formed, that Q marker did not form in America, obviously.
Wait, so haplogroup Q did not form in the Americas, even though the highest distribution of haplogroup Q is in the Americas.
Pretty much.
Interesting.
So,
but last thing I'm going to say is, but E1B1A's highest distribution is in West Africa. Are you saying that it couldn't have formed in West Africa?
Well, the common belief of E1B1A, EV38 is that it formed in East Africa. That's the most common belief, because then you put EM215 in East Africa, and you put EP2 in East Africa, which is the parent group to both E1B1A and E1B1B. So,
nah, that's a lie. Highest distribution is in West Africa, therefore it must have formed there. Anyways, go on with your
yeah. All right, so we're gonna track ancient Native American.
So this is C, and it's in Arabia at 46,000 BCE, and it's going to migrate into the Americas. Okay. And by the way, I said earlier, C is also found in Australian Aborigines, Mongolians, and various other human ethnic groups and populations. So C isn't just in Native Americans; it's in various human populations.
Right.
And this is why you can't say certain haplogroups have certain like facial morphologies. Like, oh, this haplogroup is Mongoloid. Australian Aborigines carry C. They're definitely not Mongoloid. So yeah, you can't use haplogroups for phenotypes. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. That's their N word. That's
Yeah.
like their form of an N word, calling Native Indigenous Americans Mongoloids. You
Mm,
know, check it out.
yeah. So there it goes down, goes up.
Now we're in northern East Asia, going towards Russia.
Haplogroup looks like haplogroup C2. Excuse me. Yeah, C2 in Mongolia. Yeah.
Yeah, C2 forms in Mongolia.
30,000 BCE.
So these are the ancestors of this particular branch of Native Indigenous Americans that makes its way all the way down to Ecuador. Seeing it has ancestry in East Asia, in Mongolia, and in China.
Hmm. And you can find, like I said, East Asians with haplogroup C, like Mongolians
Right.
and others. But we're following a specific clade here
So now we're at 20,000 BCE in China, in Mongolia for a while.
for a very
Forms of
long time, for thousands of years. It
another
looks like.
particular clade of CF1906,
Yeah, this clade,
CF3.
it stayed
Then
there for a couple of thousand years.
then it makes its trek up across the Beringia into what is known as Alaska,
Right.
all the way down into what is now known as Ecuador. Oh, excuse me, Central America.
10,000 BCE. So Holocene time period. Around this
Yeah,
time, the Sahara was green, by the way.
right?
And I believe this is the time period when the Earth is starting to heat up a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
you're
you see
going
the
back
glacier.
now. You're going back
Yeah,
to the Ice Age.
so people can see it. Yeah,
Okay.
as the glacial sheets retract, humans are able to come into America. As you see here,
Right.
boom, boom. The
And you see
ice
the ice is going
melting
away.
away.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The Earth is heating up. This is why the Sahara is turning green at around this time, 12,000 BCE. The Sahara is slowly turning into a savanna because of the monsoon rains.
right.
And Native
So
Americans are in Alaska, North America, Canada.
yeah, 12 to 11,000 BCE. And then this group of native indigenous people make their way in Central America. Go down, go down. All right, and I believe it made its way to Ecuador here.
About 7,000 BCE.
Yeah, we can get the exact estimate here. Yep.
All
Oh well,
right.
yeah, in Colombia, but Ecuador is there too as well. And there, look, there's the Galapagos Islands. So anybody that read that book, Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, when they said, "Oh, and the tribe of Rubens on the island nearby," what Black Hebrew Israelites were trying to do. This is for all you 12 tribe charters out there. They're trying to do is say, "Oh, this was This was talking about the island of Puerto Rico, and this proves the 12 tribe chart." No, it wasn't. That took place in Ecuador. So the island that he was referring to, Francisco, that we're referring to in that book, was the Galapagos Islands. So you're wrong on both ends on that. So, but anyway, that's just a sidebar. This is the origin of Native Indigenous people. As you can see, their ancestors come from East Asia and make their way into what is now known the Americas.
It's interesting you chose to talk about C because, as you know, most people think of Q when they think of Native Americans. A lot of folks don't recognize C is also in the Americas. But so it's interesting you started on C instead of Q. I like that. It's pretty good.
Right. So now we're gonna go to C3 Z30536. This is the Canadian camp sample. Let's see if I can get out of that.
Yeah, this Globetrekker is like an awesome tool. I'm surprised more DNA companies don't have something like this. Like this. This is awesome.
Z30536. 6.
So
All right. As you can see, this is another lineage coming from East Asia. Oh, you got, they're Mongoloids. They're Mongoloids. Well, if you're claiming to be an Aboriginal Indian and your family has always been the Americans, then this is your ancestry.
You are Mongoloid.
Yeah. Now you like how you gonna insult? Yeah, you're claiming the ancestry, but then you're insulting the ancestry or attempting to insult. You think that's an insult? Like again, that's like their version of the N word. The Abos always say that the Mongoloids, they're imposters. Bro, they literally come from East Asia. Literally.
Yeah. So it's like obviously they're going to look East Asian if they descend from East Asians. Kind of obvious.
So let me blow this up, and then we'll start the migratory routes.
Technically, they look more like Siberians because the last common ancestor for Native Americans would have been like a Siberian type, a Paleo-Siberian.
Yeah. All right. Half speed. So we're all in Mongolia right now, the C2 family, as we saw earlier.
So it's there around the time of the Green Sahara.
8, and then 8,000, 7,000, and then boom.
Well, fairly. So let's see, 10,000 BC, Paleocene. The ice is
Crosses over into the Americas. Around what time is that? 7,500, 6,500 BCE.
Yeah.
And that purple is showing you where its descendants, this group of males, their descendants going all over into America. These are your Paleo Americans. These are your First Nationers, if you will. So if you claiming that you're an Aboriginal indigenous person, this is your ancestry. Your ancestors would have had to come from East Asia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple. This is not a hard show to do, Ivory. This is very, and like you said, Globetrekker just makes us even more simple because we're able to give a visual aid to the audience.
Right. And it looks like this particular clade has a lot of descendants. They just kind of just spread all over Northeast America and Canada.
Right.
Central America, Central United States.
So, as we just went over the C markers that are on this list that we know that are ancient American, as you can see here, the clade we just looked at is North American, and the other C3 marker is South American. Related to East Asians, Siberians, Russians, Afghanistanians, Chinese, Kazakhstanians, Uzbekistanians. This is clearly an East Asian haplogroup, a group of individuals.
Yep.
So again, QM242 formed about 35.7 thousand years ago. And it has children in Eurasia, South and East Asia again, and South Asia, Siberia, and look at all that American Clovis coming from the QL54 branch that formed about 19,000 years ago. So these males created their own distinct mutations on the Y chromosome around 20,000, 18, 19, 20,000 years ago. And that's where you see the Clovis coming from. That's like one of the most famous indigenous groups, ancient indigenous groups, about 12.6 thousand years ago. Look, Bolivia, Mexico, Peru, Brazil. So this is American. Then you see this branch here coming from QM930 that has descendants in Norway. It has descendants in Sweden. It has descendants in Yorkshire, UK. As you can see, there's some interconnectedness here and within this haplogroup family of QL54. And then when you go down, when you get to QM3, that's exclusively American. This is a very successful lineage of males that made their way into America probably 15, presumably 15,000 years ago. And they were able to spread like wildfire and create these different distinct groups of Native Indigenous Americans. Again, if you claim an Native Indigenous American ancestry, you take a DNA test and maybe you match one of these groups because these are the groups that we find in the ground. How we know it? Look, what does it say right here? Kennewick Man. This is an ancient burial, 8.5 thousand years ago. That's what they date him to. Early San Nicolas, 4.5 thousand years ago. All of the QM3 branch. All right. So this is the irony. You guys are trying to run away from DNA or trying to discredit DNA because you know that you have, at the end of the day, what you say has to match the evidence. And this is the evidence that we have found and dug out the ground through the burials. This is the haplogroup. These are the groups of people that were here in the Americas prior to Columbus coming over here. Anyway, so we're gonna put. Let me go back. We're gonna start off with QCTS 1780. As you can see, this branch of Q is American, and you do have a branch that's Northwest European, and you do have a branch that's Siberian as well. But we're gonna focus on these two American only clades, QCTS 1780. CTS 1780. All right. So, as you can see, this is also an American Pan American haplogroup QZ780. Is
Man, it goes all over the place.
I know.
There it go.
So we're gonna do the same thing, man. Same exact thing. Give you guys a visual aid.
It also looks like it forms in. Where does it form? Okay, Q forms in Mongolia. Okay, well, was that Russia? I think.
Let me slow that down. Q forms. Yeah, just right above Mongolia here in these mountain ranges here.
Yeah.
So again, the ancestors of these Native Americans is still in East Asia.
Yeah.
Let me go back. So
yeah, the ancestors of Native Americans have been in on the Eurasian plate for a very long time before crossing over to the Americas.
So about 13,500 years to get over here.
Still in Russia.
Yeah, now they're in, well, it's now known as Alaska.
Yeah.
They cross in Beringia, boom, they're in the Americas. As you can see here, this is North America around New Mexico. And then I can see if we can get some ancient DNA here. Right there, Anzac 1. So we don't have to play these games, man. Does your DNA match with these burials? As we see here, it is a Q marker. It tells you the exact marker, right, and where it was dated to.
Oh, so Globetrekker uses ancient remains. It has ancient remains in its database.
Yes.
Interesting, because someone tried to tell me that it didn't didn't have ancient remains.
Right.
It does.
Yeah. So Gregory, there are Q markers again that did not go to the Americas, as we pointed out earlier. Let me show you this real quick.
Yeah, Q is also found very high in Central Asian people.
You see this?
Turks and stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Q-L330, Siberian. Q-L804, Northwest European.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you do have Q markers that made their way to other parts of the globe, not just the Americas.
Right. There was even a Q sample found in the Mitanni remains in Syria.
Right.
I think it was either Bronze Age or Iron Age. I can't quite remember, but it was Q in the Middle East.
Right. Right. Yeah. So But there are specific branches of Q that made their way to the Americas. Like, as we see here, QCTS 1780, which is what we just looked up, it's pretty much developed its own distinct branch in the Americas. And you can see the descendants, where they dispersed to. They're North, Central, and South America. And here's some more burials here. Let me go back. Here's a burial here. Shukaka. Ancient connections show lineage of distantly related archaeological remains of different cultures. It is classified as a Native American. And there you go. Here's some more right here. Boom. Output 24. If it clicks. If you're able, just take a DNA test and see if it matches with any of these ancient people. Time period: archaic 7,460 to 7140 BCE, was found in Brazil. All right, so this is a Q descendant as well. Here's some more. Here's some more.
Are you showing us something? Because we don't see anything here.
Oh, now you see it. This one was found in Peru. I showed this one being found in Brazil. These are ancient remains dated to 75 to 7100 BCE. This was 6,780 to 6,570 BCE. Early Andes group in Peru. A Q marker, a descendant of QZ780. This one's called Arroyo Seco, Buenos Aires in Argentina, 7,064.30 BCE. So if you are able and your people are here, your DNA should match these people, because these are old, ancient peoples that have been over on this side of Earth for at least 9 to 10,000 years, according to the dates given of their burial. So come on, man. Like, y'all got to give up the ghost on this. Either just take your DNA and match and test your ideas with evidence, or just stop with the nonsense. That's all. Just stop with the nonsense, because reality is gonna hit you like a sack of potatoes or a sack of bricks eventually. We're only gonna learn more as time progresses. We're only gonna discover more as time progresses about the ancient inhabitants of the Americas and other regions as well. So there's another one. Where's this going here? Oh, it's going back there. So this is Native American history, ancestry, if you will. There's another one in Brazil, another burial about 1880 BCE.
There's a Q in Australia as well, I believe. Is that Q?
No, it's S.
S? Okay, my bad.
Another one. Come on, we got enough burials, man. Another one in Peru, descendant of QZ780. So if you're a descendant of these people, the proof is on your Y chromosome or your mitochondrial DNA. And as I told people, there are African Americans that have mitochondrial DNA, meaning their mother was an indigenous American. That traces back to these people. So, like I said, it's in the realm of possibility, but you got to be realistic about it. Here's a Cuban here.
Yeah, we know two, quote unquote, African Americans with Native American mtDNA too.
Yeah.
It's surprising how diverse African Americans are, and how easy you can find African Americans with haplogroups that are not West and Central African in origin.
Yep. Here's another descendant of this haplogroup here in northern Mexico, dated to 3000 BCE and between 1500 CE. And as you can see, the purple and the green is showing you where all its descendants went. So basically, North, Central, and South American. If you truly are these people, your DNA should match with this. I mean, it's just that simple. You know, now you've reached, oh no, you just want, you just hate us and all this other crap. No, man, just test your ideas with evidence instead of just making claims. Test your ideas with evidence. How about that? Try it out one time.
That should be a slogan.
Now we're going to do QY4308, which is also designated as American, Canadian, Brazilian, and Son Nicholas. All right, so this lineage formed 12.2 thousand years ago seems to be associated with the initial event of peopling of the Americas. So let's check this one out. Y4308. 4308. I'll put 7, Y4308. All right. So again, if you truly are of these people, then this should show up in your DNA. You can take your family tree. This will all pop up on Globetrekker if this is truly your ancestry. If you really are Abo or indigenous to the Americas. This ain't got nothing to do with skin color. This ain't got nothing to do with the social group that you're associated with. The way you look today has no bearing on how your ancestors look. The culture you practice today, I have to keep harping on this. This came up yesterday. Just because people have a certain culture, a certain practice and rites and rituals does not mean anything as far as who you are directly related to. African Americans, newsflash, some of us West Central African, North African, East African, South African. That's
African Americans cannot be North African. Stop that lie.
That's a multitude of cultures and religions and ideologies being practiced over there today and in ancient times. So just because you today, and here's the funny thing, most of these people that are making these claims about, well, does the culture match? Does the culture match? You keep an Americana culture. You pop firecrackers on July 4th, right? You keep Thanksgiving. You do all these things that are American, are considered American. You speak an American dialect of English. Everything about you is Americana. Everything culturally, all of us are going to be different than those that lived before us in ancient times. Right? Most of the stuff that we do today would be completely foreign to our biological ancestors. So we got to cut the crap on that. Stop appealing to idiocy. That's just all. I can't even say that any other way. I can't be nice about this. You're appealing to idiocy. And you're doing it on purpose because you're trying to keep the lie alive. Or you're trying to keep the misinformation alive. Instead of saying, hey, my ideas have to be tested with evidence. Let's weigh our opinions and ideas with the evidence instead of just forming your idea and making your idea the evidence. Anyway. So let's track the migration of these people. We're not going to be too long, man. It's not going to take too long. So 30,000 BCE. Let's half the speed real quick. So have group P. Forms in the Q1. Over in Western Eurasia over here, then we're going up, going back to East Asia. Going back. Boom, going towards in the Beringia to the Americas. And it forms around 11,000 BCE. Boom, there we are. In Canada. Q3 forms in Canada, and boom. So these are your original people. These are your aboriginals. These are aboriginal Indians, as they like to say. The abos like to say, right? These are your native indigenous peoples. So again, If you guys are claiming that you guys are native indigenous peoples of the Americas and that you claiming the land, your DNA should trace back to these people. Your Y chromosomes should trace back to these people. Because we know you don't get Y chromosomes through osmosis. You only get it from sex, from father to son. And then that son has to give it to his son. And that son has to give it to his son all the way to the present day. Now, there are African Americans that fit the bill. They do exist. Some of them have paternal ancestry. Some of them have maternal ancestry. Matter of fact, I showed one on the channel one time. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Let me go to my Facebook group real quick. I'm going to my handy dandy Facebook. And go to my Facebook group here. See if I can find it real quick. Hopefully it don't take me too long to find it.
I need that SpongeBob meme that says 1,000 years later.
Yeah. Well, basically, you know, most people know about African ancestry, right? AfricanAncestry.com. This brother took an African ancestry test because, again, these people are advertising and marketing towards Black people and promising them that they could connect them to a certain tribe in Africa. And this particular user,
I know who you pulled up. I remember that discussion. Everybody's denying that he had Native American ancestry when he did, all because you know, he phenotypically looked West African. Phenotypically was African American. And they're like, no, you can't be Native American. Why can't you what they call it? Culture vulture or wee wuzzer, whatever term they use.
Yeah. Ah, here it is. All I had to do is put Native American in. Here it is. So this brother name is Rashawn, and they basically told him he shares paternal genetic ancestry with people living in North America. He is literally a descendant of Aboriginal Indians, Native American Indians. This makes complete sense from a historical standpoint because we know that Native Indigenous Americans intermingled and intermixed with Africans in the Americas. Of course, everybody knows about the Seminoles, same thing happened with Cherokees and these different Indian tribes, these various Indian tribes. We know this. So this shouldn't be a shock that there are some people that are considered quote unquote African Americans that are literally descendants of indigenous people, just like this man is. And how did he find out? The irony is he took an African ancestry test and they say, listen, your paternal genetic ancestry is shared with people living in North America, the ancient indigenous Indians. What you got, Avery? I see you mute your mic.
Nah, I don't got anything. I was gonna say something, but I changed my mind. Yeah.
So here's another. You wouldn't guess what he's a native indigenous descendant as well. Oh no, how is he looks like Ethan Hawke. He's a white man. You can't judge people based off phenotype alone. That don't tell you anything. That came up earlier about phenotype. All men. Remember this, Avery? All men start off as women in the womb. No, they do not. You start off as a male or a female in the womb. Oh, well, they look like. It don't matter what it look like. That's a male or a female. That's it. That's determined on the genetic, on the molecular level during conception. That has nothing to do with how you think the fetus is growing and looking. So dumb. But we go off phenotype. Phenotype is polygenic, right? So this person looks.
People still don't seem to understand that. But anyways,
yeah. I had someone on the Big Y group on Facebook, go back and forth with me because I was trying to explain to him, you EV13, that means your ancestors are African, your ancient ancestors African. How can I be a descendant from Africans? Do I got nappy hair? Am I black?
So all Africans, it's funny because when you talk to people online, one day they're saying, "Oh, this person can't be African because uh they don't have dark skin and nappy hair." But then as soon as you talk about like Egypt or Berbers, they're like the argument changes like, no, they are Africans even though they have lighter skin and straighter hair. So it's like,
No, the invaders.
or that's when you're talking to an Afrocentric. I'm talking about when you speak to someone in the MENA population.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah,
someone in
yeah,
the
yeah,
MENA
yeah,
population be like,
yeah.
of course Africans can have, light skin and straight hair. And then next day you talk to somebody else and the argument changes. Like Africans are only Negroid looking people.
Right. So yeah, I just showed he's QM971. So I just showed you an example of someone that has Native Indigenous American ancestry on his father's side. That was a white American and also a black American. So you can't. It does exist in the African American community, and again, you can't just judge people on how they look, right? Anyway, there also was a paper that came out last year that they found the only surviving male Taino, possibly Taino ancestry within the Afro Puerto Rican community.
What? Say it ain't so.
Yeah, that was a paper that hold on, I try to let me
Nah,
start
it's a
sharing
missed
it.
call. It's a missed call. It's wrong. They need to update it.
Right. Everything's a missed call that you don't agree with. That's pretty much what it boils down to. Oh, here it is here. See, that's why I love my Facebook group. I use that to go back for a reference to all the time. Um, right here. So black Puerto Ricans DNA unveils heterogeneity of African Americans. Haplogroups E1B1. I had to tell somebody African American does not just mean North, because that's another argument too, Avery. When you say African American, oh, that's North American. No, it's not. It just means people of African descent in the Americas. That's how it's usually used, especially in scientific papers. So anyway, Black Puerto Ricans DNA unveils heterogeneity of African Americans. Haplogroups E1B1A, R1B. R1B is Western European. E1B1A is Sub-Saharan African. J, Caucasus, Middle Eastern, Near Eastern. G, same thing. I is like Western European. And even QM3 found amongst what? Black Puerto Ricans. This would mean that the African American nexus consists of West Africans, North African, European, and Native Americans. Open quote, African descended Puerto Ricans, and to assess how gene flow has characterized and distinguished the contemporary community relative to other Caribbean peoples. And as you can see, they did find one individual who was identified as belonging to Y haplogroup QM3, right? And at this point, this is the only living sample of an indigenous male because they find plenty indigenous descendants of females. But finding a descendant of the indigenous males in Puerto Rico, it has been presumed that they were all extinct. All the males died off until they found this individual amongst the Afro Puerto Rican community. They found that there is living male descendant. This is possibly a living descendant of Taino Indians in modern day Puerto Rico. Anyway,
Missed calls. That African American is an E1B1A marker because all African Americans carry E1B1A. Next.
yeah, that's another thing. See, that's the I'm glad you said it because the idea of homogeneity, and Gregory, I see your question. I will address it here in a minute. But the idea of homogeneity plagues most of these groups, and it's usually within groups that have identitarian beliefs. They say, oh, all of us are Native Indigenous Americans. All of us are Israelites. All of us are X, Y, and Z. Plug in whatever identity you want. All of us Nuwapi. It's usually within those groups because you have made up in your mind that the people that you want to associate yourself with for various reasons, could be just phenotype, could be cultural, all have to be from the same men and women, and that's just not the case at all. That's not how biology works. You don't dictate and choose your ancestors. This is not a video game. Choose your character. That's not how it works. Okay, we descend from who we descend from. We have no control over that. We don't control what happened 9, 10, 11, 12,000 years ago and what men and what women got together that ultimately created us. We don't control that.
Basically, you don't control your paternal and your maternal ancestry.
Exactly. So you say you're QM243. You got a basic. That's a basic haplogroup, ain't it? That's not a what company? Yeah, you're what do you say? Q what? QM242. Yeah. So this is you got a you need to take a test that gives you more SNPs so you can know what specific branch of Q that you come from. Because again, that's the arch father of all the Q lineages. So that's not gonna really tell you what branch you come from. Being that what are you? You said you're 95% sub-Saharan. So you're probably a QM3 descendant then. Because you got African ancestry, so your ancestors probably commingled with Africans here in the Americas. So you might be a descendant of QM3. But I would, if I were you, I would take the big Y DNA test on FamilyTree DNA, save up your coins, save some money. I know it's a little expensive. Try to catch it on sale and take the big Y 700 so you can know what part of the Q family tree that you belong in. But if I had to guess, you're probably a QM3 descendant. Anyway, I hope that helps you out. So anybody that's taking a haplogroup test, like 23andMe, is only I don't know how many SNPs they test, but they don't give you the most SNPs. FamilyTree DNA does, and I think there's another company called what's it called? Either Nexus or
Talking about
it does not.
DNA Genix?
No, there's another
Oh, Nebula?
company. Nebula. Yeah. That's very expensive as well. But I wouldn't use Nebula for the simple fact that the utility and the tools that FamilyTree offers. If you're going to spend that type of money, you probably want to do it with FamilyTree because you're going to get access to Globetrekker. You can be able to match yourself with different groups and whatnot, compare and contrast, and look up any other haplogroup that you want to for your own studies and stuff of that nature. All right, so what haplogroup did we leave off on? I believe we did Y4308. So
Yeah.
now this is probably your I'm not for sure. You got to take your big Y test, brother. But you might fall in QM848. As you can see, this is in Mexico, Brazil, Ecuador, Brazil, Peru, Ecuador, Brazil, Mexico, Bolivia, Brazil. Found in Kennewack, Manus in North America, right? And San Nicolas. So we're going to type this in QM848. This will be our last one we do tonight. QM848. Of course, Avery's going to make me sign back in, right? So as I do this, what was that, Clay, again? QM848?
Yeah.
So look, Colombia, Mexico, Peru, and other countries. American. You can also use it. Look, you can go to country frequencies and see where it's found. Again, boom. It's in North America. It increases as you go southwards. And that means a lot more indigenous ancestors, survived in Central and South America than North America. You see, less than 1%. Of course, you're gonna have some over here, probably through modern travel or whatnot. So we're gonna check the migratory pattern of these indigenous peoples. And again, if you're watching any of the Abo faith or the belief that you are Aboriginal DNA, you have Aboriginal DNA, then just take the test, man, and compare and contrast. That's all you got to do. All right. So we're going to go here. I'm going to open this up. Go back. So that's 36,000 BC. Let's start it. All right. We already went over this. Pretty much Q comes from P. And this is all happening in Mongolia and Russia. Then it comes over here. And Kazakhstan goes back up to that Mongolia-Russian region, goes up, and it migrates across to the Beringia and into America about 11,500, as we saw earlier. QM3 is formed. There you go, QM902. So these are your Aboriginal. These are the people that existed here before Columbus. We don't have to play these games. We don't got to run the Ivan Van Sertima. That's an old book, outdated book, and try to say, oh, see, look, these people look African. Look at these Inca heads. Okay, they can look whatever, however you want them to look. That's not going to tell you the whole story. What's going to tell you the story is the DNA that's within these people, the DNA that's within the ancient burials, the DNA that they found of these mummified remains in South America, in North America, and in Central America, in the Caribbean. That's going to tell you, not just you saying the Aztecs drew people being black and with braids. So what? Anybody can be black and with braids. And the newsflash, everybody. The further you go back in time, the darker populations get. The further you go back in time, the darker everybody gets. Man, let me go back to my.
Yeah, all humans start off dark skinned, so it makes sense that some ancient human populations, that some human populations stayed dark skinned. Like
Right.
Australian Aborigines, as an example, like they stayed dark skinned, and their ancestors were dark skinned because all humans were dark skinned. Like some human populations never acquired the alleles to turn lighter. Like the Dravidians in India, they're also dark skinned, and their ancestors were dark skinned because all humans were dark skinned at one point. Light skin is fairly recent, and the reason why you see people with light skin is because of that of a specific allele. Jashub has it pulled up right here.
Right. So, as you guys can see, this is Central Eurasians, where most of these indigenous groups come from any damn way. If you go back 70,000 years, they're very, very dark. Going into recent regions, like that's why you still see people in Serbia still maintaining their brown skin. They're still fairly brown. Even Europe, you go back, they're brown, they're dark brown, then they get light as you go towards the Holocene. About 6,000 years ago is when they start getting pale, as you can see here in this chart. East Asia, you go back 50,000 years, they're pretty dark. They're brown. They don't get light until about 20 to 10,000 years. Look, people coming from the Beringia, they're light brown, and they actually get darker as they come into America. They actually get darker. So just because, exactly.
I mean, it kind of makes sense because South America and Mexico, that general area, is closer to the equator, and you typically do see darker skinned people, near the equator. Like India is near the equator, Sub-Saharan Africa is near the equator, Australia is sort of near the equator. Seems like people are kind of darker near the equator as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so there should be no surprise. Even away from it, like the Eskimo, like there should be no surprise. These people are dark. Dark. But the older you get, the further you go back. If you was able to jump in a time machine, and this was Back to the Future, whatever, you had the time machine that they used in that show, and you're able to do like jump 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 years ago, the people are going to be across the planet, no matter where they at. They can be in Norway some damn where. They're going to be generally darker than they are today. That's just a fact.
Chatterman, shout out to Chatterman. He may not have been in Norway. He was in the British Isles, but still, Northern Europe.
Yeah, Ozzy the Iceman was dark skinned.
Yep, he was in Italy.
So I mean, we can go on and on and on about this. The older populations, the archaic population. Matter of fact, all of us come from dark skinned people. So the ancestor of all Homo sapiens is dark skinned. All right. So I mean, just pointing out people with certain features or dark skin or a certain hair texture is not going to be a sufficient ancestry test to see if you belong to those people. What you're going to have to do is do that cheek swab or spit into that vial and send it into a lab to be analyzed and sequenced so we can know what the hell are you made of, who do you come from. That's it. All the other mumbo jumbo is just that jumbo. Go ahead.
Hey, and you never know. You might get what you want. You might actually get, a paternal haplogroup Q, or you might get haplogroup C, or mitochondrial B, or mitochondrial A. You might actually get what you want, and you never know. Just got to take a DNA test.
Exactly. So we're gonna go back to here and just see the descendant. Like, this is one of the major indigenous lineages. As you can see, it has descendants all over South America, Central America, North America. As you can see, going into Florida, going up to west in the west of America, 1400 BC. It's all over. So this was a very successful lineage that had a lot of children, a lot of progeny, and that created their own separate branches of the M3 group. And there you have it. That's Native American origins. So if you Black Americans that are so passionate about whether or not you're Aboriginal, go take a DNA test, man. It's that simple. And if your DNA matches with these people, I guess you got the identity or the ancestry that you want to connect with. If not, that's no big deal. It's no big deal. Whatever you are, you are. Be proud of it. Be proud of your ancestry. If you're European, be proud of your European ancestry. You're African, be proud of your African ancestry. Arabian, be proud of that. If you're Indigenous American, be proud of that. Be proud of who you are. No matter where you fall on the family tree, because ultimately we all descend from the same group of people any damn way. If you go far enough back in time, we all converge to one group of people. We are the result of people migrating, spreading out, all at one place at one time, and we spread out, develop our own distinct cultures, distinct languages, modes of living, so on and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. Don't get too far ahead of you. But ultimately, we all the same anyway. Go ahead, Ivory.
We're all human. Well, except for the sub-Saharan African, they have 20% archaic ancestry. So we always obviously we got to point that out anytime we get a chance to. That 20% archaic.
Remember that girl said we're aliens. So maybe that's
Shoot, other people say we're. Never mind. They're not even say. They're not even say what they say. You to my flag.
a beast.
20% archaic monkey pre-Adamite. But no, we're all human at the end of the day. That's a fact.
Yeah. So if you got any questions in the chat, I believe we answered this question here. Basically, you need to take another test. Say you're Sephardic and Native. I mean, it's possible, but Donald Yates be flogging. You know what I'm saying? Donald Yates be full of it sometimes, but I mean, it's possible that you're
Yeah, he
Sephardic.
not maternally, my bad. Well, yeah, maternally. He could carry a maternal Sephardic Jewish haplogroup.
Yeah.
Because so what is he? He's okay, never mind. I was thinking he was Hispanic. My bad. This guy is African American. Okay.
Yeah, because he's asking about matching with the Limba tribe. He's most likely a Native American, but somewhere along the line, maybe your ancestors did intermingle with Sephardic peoples and picked up that faith. I don't know. Maybe you can do some background on that. Maybe some family members know exactly about that. But what I can tell you, you being QM242, that's a lot. That's very vague. But knowing American history and knowing the interactions between indigenous Americans and Africans, which you possibly come from, you're probably a descendant of QM3 or one of these Q specific to Native Indigenous Americans. So Gregory, take your Big Y test, and when you get your results, come holler at your boy. We can go over your results here live on the channel. It'll be fun, interesting, intriguing, education. Let the people get educated off of your ancestry, just like I did. I showed my ancestry as well. So hopefully you can manage that, man. We'll love to see your results. And no problem, man. Anytime, brother. Let me see if I can see any questions here.
I don't know if the other guy is coming on tonight. I sent him that text, and I don't see him in the chat, but we might have to have another show tomorrow. I think that might be one of their friends, but I don't know if that's them specifically, because that's not the account that I was talking to on YouTube. That's a different account.
Okay, all right.
But I think that's one of their friends, or it could be them. Maybe they're using a different account. I don't know. We can either try tomorrow to talk to them, or we can put the link in the chat if we have time. Unless you want to end the show here in a minute, it's up to you.
I mean, the link's there, but I don't want to be on here all night.
Yeah, same. I need to get sleep.
All right, well, we're gonna end it then. We'll see you guys tomorrow about 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. And remember, test your ideas with the evidence. We out.
Yeah. Sound good to me. This sound hard, something funky people gon' dance to. Give the record a second and a chance to. Hitting people like a scene of amazement. While they slipping back, my feet just planted in the pavement. Crumble like I never do. So now I'm looking dead at you. What are you gonna do? You listen to the knowledge of a scholar. You say how I breathe, tell them how I holler. I'm the E-double, and I proclaim my name. Straight up, good gang, peeps all game. I'm like a rhino, running through the roughest pack. They figure I'm a trigger happy nigga, so they step back. Breathe. The microphone is who lasts the longest, so who's the strongest. It ain't a game, it's plain to see. You listen to the sounds of breathe. There ain't no future in your front. I never got caught with a kilo, and if you ever do, yo, will never be with me, yo. Serve it in a Cherokee, or maybe it's a Geo. Black on black Benzo, we'll get it up, amigo. Never have to worry about my posse getting jumped, cause if we ever do, yo, TB, pop the trunk. Cause we don't go for playing, wanna play, go grab a ball. When I'm on the mic, I ain't for playing, not at all. Cause I clock 10 G's a week, booming at my peak. Always see E sober, but I do get geek. I can give you a job, a place to eat. Hardy, meet your homeboy Marty at a B.O.B. Party taking over, barking like a dog named Rover. I'm picking suckers like a 4-leaf clover. They biting words on the mic, they some cobras. So now they saying egg breeders getting over. But in the future in your front. In the future in your front. I'm the B, the R to the double E-D. And down with my homie G-A-S-N-O-E. And suckers causing static cause they still be disagreeing. I don't give a, cause I'm from F-L-I-N-T. In a city where pity runs slow. If you ever shoot through my city, now you know. Cause we a strictly business and we also got a pride. And if you don't like it, I suggest you break wide. Suckers study looking for the ammo in the wire. Thinking that illegal is the best for slowly dying. I ain't got time to see a fiend out. To give up all his money and to give up what he got. That's the way I am, MC B cannot be different. Never change the ways for the world or the government. If I was the president, then I would state facts. You leave it up to me, I paint the White House black and ain't no future in your front. There ain't no future in your front. walking out from rolling. If I was a fiend, then my gold would be stolen. Put my name Breed on everything I own. And when I get my Jeep, I'm putting Breed on the chrome. Shine it up good, kicking through my neighborhood. Motorola phone, fat rims and a Kenwood. Put the kid around it, and then I'll have it drop. Just because I'm riding, people think I'm selling rocks, but they don't feature your front. There ain't a feature in your front. Yo, Flash, man, drop that, man. Why don't you drop it? True to the rules of the world. Live my life raw, cause I never liked the law. Wear top 10s on my ass, use jeans. Selling big gates and tit for tat to the fiends. Cock much dollars, but I never break a sweat. Time to move out, my posse saying, you got my back and I got yours. What time is it? Tear down the door. It ain't no feature in your front. Never was, cuz. There ain't no feature in your front. Yo, man, let's start this party, alright? Kick out that fat dance.